just thank God for the opportunity just to be able to be a part of this program, to be a part of this this wonderful team, university, those players in there that I get to coach. I mean, it's been a lot of work since December, January, all things throughout the off season, and this is one game, and we understand it's one game, but it was a big game, and I know we talked about that as last week. Is you get to be on this stage against a top 10 opponent, very talented team, and but we wanted to be the aggressor, and we were. Our players, they rose to the challenge. I thought our coaches did an outstanding job in putting together a great plan. So very multiple, being able to be on the attack throughout the game, regardless of the situation. And our players rose to the challenge. And I thought you saw a great heart. Just the way that they, we've talked all year, and I've used the buzzwords of edge and desperation. Well, that comes from the heart, and you saw heart tonight. And you saw a team that absolutely loved playing this game together, and were physically dominant, emotionally together, and they responded. Because it wasn't a perfect game, and we talked about that as a team. This is the first step, but it was a big step, and now we got to go and get better. We have to continue to improve. We're going to enjoy tonight. We're going to be able to get a great evaluation of exactly where we are. But when you have a team like that has a lot of experience and some good players that are on the other side, I mean, it comes down to your execution and just ultimately what you're willing to pour into to the opportunity. But for our crowd, our fans, that was special. And being back in Doak Campbell, full capacity, we felt it. The Marching Chiefs, it was rocking tonight. And I do want to take just a moment to Michael Alford, our AD, outstanding job. When you look at our President McCullough, our board of trustees. The push, the support, the investment into our program with the new stadium, with the new football complex that's going to be opening midway through this year. It's an incredible group, and I tell people all the time, it's the people that make the place. And that's what's special about Florida State is we got great people, and I think our players showed that and represented that well. So many former players that were here, that were just to be here to encourage, support. A lot of them were here last night, and it was all great performance. Proud of our football team in every phase, and Tommy got to break the rock tonight. Well earned. You saw guys that offensive line I thought did an outstanding job. Some big plays at the receiver position. Defensively, just for the first drive to go, so far, I guess what we wanted, the response and just the adjustments and the swarming effect of our defense was remarkable. I thought we were able to create pressure. We stopped the run. Earl Little was a monster out there today. He was flying around all over the field, and it was what Florida State football looks like and feels like, and so it was definitely a great night.
All right, first question will be Andrea, third row on your left.
Mike, you guys were basically 2 touchdown underdogs at home to Alabama. How important was it to play the way that you played tonight to set the tone for what this season is going to look like and put last year in the past?
Well, it wasn't about Alabama tonight. It was about us. It was about this team. It was about the players that I get to coach, the work they poured into it. It was this game. It was a highly anticipated game. It was one that they are talented. They've done extremely well. Throughout the years, and the guys that they get to that we competed against. But my focus not at one point was ever about them. It was just about this team going to be what I believed it could. And we've been able to see guys that have come into the program that are growing and developing, like Mekhi Danzy tonight. To be able to have the plays that he had. You see, Jabril Rawls had a couple really nice plays. That tackle there at the end. That is a defining play for tonight. You talk about dominant contact. That's what it looks like from a corner there to stop a guy half a yard short. That was huge. But guys that have grown in the program, and the guys that have come into the program have bought into the understanding of what it is to be here. We've seen that before, but I believe this team definitely has great capabilities of it. And tomorrow we're going to show up, and the objective's still going to be the same: go get better. And they've embraced that since January, since they stepped foot on this campus and, as a football team, whether they've been here for multiple years or whether they just got here. And, but I thought that showed up tonight.
We'll go to Ira over on your right.
The conversations you must have had with the players at the end of last season, the guys who were coming back, and then the guys you were choosing to bring in, just how gratifying is it to see the way you were right about the guys you kept and the guys you brought in like that? Can you feel that?
You know, I know what it looks like. You know, I've seen it really good and I've seen it, really bad at times. And I mean, this is Florida State. It is a privilege. It's a privilege to coach, to play, to represent this program, and so that standard needs to be upheld. And it doesn't mean that tonight wasn't a perfect game. Not one player played a perfect game tonight. But they poured it all in, and you felt the competitive spirit, you felt the response, you felt the way they came together, and all three phases had a great impact in getting that win. So we knew what it looked like, and we were able to get the right guys to come in, the ones that have joined our program here for this year, and this is their first year, and also been able to see the growth and development by guys that wanted to be difference makers, that wanted to make sure that we were all upholding the standard of Florida State, and I thought that showed well tonight.
All right, we'll come back here in the middle for Chris.
How much does having Tommy, a guy who has an alpha personality, benefit the entirety of your roster?
Well, I know you guys have asked a lot of questions about Tommy since he's been here, and I think probably every time that I answer it, I talk about the investment that he's making off the field. I talk about what he's doing, pouring into his teammates. He really is a guy that when he steps on the field, 10 guys on offense are better, and the guys he's competing against defensively, right? I mean, they support him and embrace all things that he brings, and he's got great energy. But it's not just what he says, and that's where people can get caught up because somebody's not afraid to talk and put thoughts out there. I mean, he does it with his actions. If Tommy didn't say a word, you would still feel the way he plays. I'm grateful that he's willing to put himself out there, and we've got a lot of guys that have shown up on this team that even in the course of sometimes making a misstep or a mistake or getting beat on a play, that they're not pulling back, they're pushing forward. And I think Tommy is a remarkable competitor, and I'm just proud of what he's done up to this point, and I'm excited about what he can continue to do and where he can continue to grow.
We'll go top left for Brendan.
From the final couple nights that you hit morning with the players celebrating, and then to see the fans pouring on that final collection of just enthusiasm. I guess for you as a coach to see what the fan base has gone through, the players have gone through, to come out of it and see this. I know one game, but to see this moment, I guess, what was it like for you?
No, it was incredible. I mean, once again, this is Florida State, and that's this fan base, this football team. I mean, the energy that you felt from our crowd tonight was incredible. I mean, just absolutely incredible. And everybody can have a perspective or thoughts of what might happen or what could occur, but we still get to make the choice. And our fan base, our supporters, our boosters, everybody that's poured into the facilities and all the things that are around. I mean, to see that continued push, even with a year that had extremely disappointing results a year ago. I mean, it's our opportunity and it's our choice to go make it better, to go be the difference maker. And I think you've seen that from everybody. Our fans were a difference maker tonight. Our past players being here tonight were a difference maker tonight. To be able to see everybody celebrating at the end, that's why you do this, and it's why you come to Florida State, because it is the people that make the place.
All right, we're gonna go to Corey on your right.
Mike, Tommy and Jalen, I don't know if they're the smallest guys on the team, but they're close to it, and they both had runs to essentially ice a win against Alabama, and also I think Earl Little is probably your smallest guy on defense, and he's all over the field. When you're talking about heart and edge, how much does it help or matter when guys like that, of that stature and size, play that hard and that physical and you can count on them?
I mean, they're built for it. I mean, I think everybody can try to count somebody out at times because of measurables, but it's about going to play the game. And I think there's times that sometimes we get caught up by the measurables, and it's so important to stay focused on what they're willing to pour in, how they're willing to play, how much does it mean to them. I mean, what are they willing to give to go win? And, when you get knocked down, and like I said, there's some times like all three of those guys, got knocked down tonight at some point, but, they jumped their butts up and went to go get better. And that's a mindset that allows them to have great nights like they had tonight. And, obviously, really pleased with their performance and, in the areas we're gonna continue to improve upon.
We'll come back to your left for Kurt.
Hey, Mike, what was it like, taking a step back in terms of the offense and working with Gus again? And along that, I wonder if you could walk me through the fourth down decision, I think on the drive to go up 31-17. How much of a consideration was that, or was that go all the way?
No, I mean, it was, Gus, Tony, I mean, you couldn't, they did such remarkable jobs, and, you obviously kept, your opponent off balance in what we were doing, and it was physicality tonight. And, I thought we were the most physical team on the field, and, really did a great job of, making that the priority. And, when you get to the situation there late, we're going to win. And, that was the mindset. You obviously always, you talk through any of those situations that are up, and I mean that the fourth down at the end, as well. It's just like, let's go put our stamp on it. And I thought, coordinators, coaches, everybody involved, and those players being able to go out to execute. I mean, that was probably my favorite play, just to see the push, to see the surge, and to be able to let that continue the drive as we're going to, obviously go to win it.
We'll go top right.
So what do you feel like changed the most in defense after that touchdown drive, which could have been much tougher than it actually was?
Yeah, no, it was that first drive was I think over 16 plays that they had the ball. I mean, it was a long drive. They did a good job of executing. There's some things that when you get into the game, I thought we kind of settling in, but our guys didn't panic. I thought it was a huge response. And when you talk about complimentary football, nobody wants to give up with an opening touchdown drive, but for the offense to go down, be able to score, I mean, and to be able to hold the ball for the time that we were able to, you felt that surge of energy, and then the defense got back out on the field and went and got the job done. And I thought it was a dominant performance in both sides. We were able to. Don't have the exact stats, but I mean, I think they held them to under 100 yards of rushing. I mean, being able to knock them back, against a big and experienced, it wasn't hard to hear good things about their offensive line, their receiving core, and they're really, really good players. But our defense showed up and did what they needed to do.
We'll go to Liam.
Almost a follow-up to that. The third and fourth down stops from your defense, especially considering a year ago that was an area you wanted to improve in. You talk about heart, you talk about resilience and physicality. What does that say about the growth that they made there?
That's huge. And what I liked is even just the type of plays. I mean, there's 2 fourth downs that literally were a handful of inches. And if they weren't the pursuit, the challenge, the fight for that, that small little space, I mean, that's a difference maker. And you can be a step behind and be disappointed about where you are, or you can be a step behind and go give everything you have to make the play. And how that showed up, you talk about one play mentality, and they definitely rose to the challenge in those moments.
I'll go to Justin in the middle.
Coach, you mentioned physicality earlier. The offensive line really was physical tonight. With so many starters like Micah, Luke, Gunnar, and Adrian, how would you assess their performance tonight? And how has Coach Han helped with their development and getting all of them to understand his concepts so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were great. And, for the first time for those guys playing together, we've talked, a lot through this off season, and, a lot of those guys just found we're out at different points of spring. So really this fall camp was, it was a push to try to get as much as we could for those guys to be together. In communication, I thought they did an outstanding job in the summer for the time that they spent away. Luke Pettibone, I mean, his leadership within that group is awesome. The experience of those guys around him, the fight for Rizzy to get back, and he jumped right into the conversation there. In fall camp, I mean, we got a really good group and a great nucleus of guys there on that offensive line. Some young players we're really excited about, but seeing them merge together and the job that Herb did with them was remarkable.
All right, we'll go back to Ira.
2 plays I would add, 2 moments. One was
2 for 1.
yes. After the muck punt, the way the defense comes out and gets the ball back, and then Sawchuck's run it at the end. Just those two moments, like what do they say about the team?
Yeah, both of those were also, phones on. But both of those moments were identity moments, you know, because nobody wants to turn the ball over, you know, and we're gonna learn and be better from that experience. But, you know, there was still about the response. You know, we talk about playing together, that's the complementary football. You know, first drive defensively, we give up a touchdown. Complementary football offense responded, right? You turn the ball over, we get a great stop, we turn the ball over on a special teams play, right? Defense responded. You know, you get down to the goal line, and you know it's time to inflict your will on an opponent, and to see a push, the drive. You know, Gavin's been a great addition, you know, to that room, and I think you saw, you know, the guys, you know, that running back room all did some really good things. Get, you know, the young freshman in there, you know, was great getting some experience. You know, but that push there at the end to be able to finish in the end zone was a great statement, a great way to end that drive.
All right, we're gonna go back to the top right.
Last year, you guys clearly had issues running the ball, averaging around 89 yards, a game. Today you guys cleared that in the first half, over 230. You know, how much of that do you credit Gus Malzahn versus the personnel? You know, and what part of that is, how much of that is in your identity as a
Yeah, I
team?
mean, it takes every person, and you know, I mean, our players, you know, they put in the work. You know, and coming in today, you know, I told them, I said, calm and confident. You know, this was a big game and a lot of energy, and you know, be calm and confident. I've watched you work, and I know what it looks like, and that's where when you see that type of work, investment, the physicality, Coach Storms and his staff. I mean, they did a great job with these guys coming in. You know, you mentioned Herb and Gus. It was awesome, and you know, but it was also those players making the choice that this is what we're going to be. This is what we want it to look like. It comes to every aspect of our program. You know, fighting for that identity, and you know, it's from athletic trainers to nutritionists to you know, every dynamic in every department. You know, we all play a role in helping these guys take positive steps so their best can show up. And I thought tonight was a great first step for this team. But once again, this is a first step for the team, and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to celebrate it. But you know, tomorrow, and my expectation is this team goes to get better, and I think these guys are absolutely going to answer the call.
All right, we got time for two more. Peter.
Coach, you mentioned briefly about Kai Danzy. Just talk more about his growth and able to execute those plays and show that how much impactful that he can be on top.
Yeah, you know, Makai, I think he's got a really special future in front of him. You know, everybody knows about his speed. You know, but I think even tonight you saw his strength. You saw him running through some tackles. You saw him continue to push forward. You know, he's gonna be a fun player to watch, and you know, he's making a big time investment. You know, as he's kind of transitioned to receiver, but obviously you see a lot of different ways we can get the ball to him, and he's got some great guys, you know, there around him to support him. But you know, I'm very excited about what his future is going to be, and you know, I was proud of him for being able to kick off the season with some big plays like that.
All right, last one will be Andrea.
Like, it's been a long 365 days, and there were a lot of people questioning you and the direction of the program. So I'm wondering, on a personal level, how gratifying it was to see this performance after telling all of us all off season, this is what we were gonna see.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, it's about the work, and I mean, I love the opportunity that I have to represent this program and these players, and you know, for every player that we have here, every coach, you know, we all said yes together, and you know, it's anybody can get in front of cameras and a microphone and say the things that sound good. It's about, are you willing to go make the investment? Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to pour in? And we've got a tremendous staff. We've got a great group of players, and so yeah, it was a great feeling tonight, because you know, Florida State matters to me, and I know what this program means to people I care so much about, and those past players and everybody that's poured all of it into it. So I've got a job to do. You know, I'm going to do everything in my power to represent this job the right way and the way it deserves to be represented. And so yeah, it was an incredible feeling, you know, seeing that come together tonight in the first game of the season. You know, on a big stage, and we want to get a win that we needed to get.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.